Monday Ubani joins us this morning. He is chairman NBA SPIDEL right here in our Lagos studio to discuss the issue on the ground. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Well, definitely it is as shocking as it comes, especially for the judiciary practitioners and all of that. With all that we know, what now would you say is the position of the NBA about this issue?
What happened was that I think it was on the 29th of October. Immediately we were running off our conference in Port Harcourt. We got to hear this news of invasion. The president of the bar, Mr. Olumide Akpata, immediately issued a statement expressing shock at that development and then outlined the process and procedure he wants to take as the president of the bar, one of which was to convey an emergency NEC meeting, which he did. It was held virtually, and several resolutions were actually reached, part of which is to ensure that this particular matter is not swept under the carpet, and then there shouldn't be a repetition. It has happened before, and everyone in the country, is really worried that a third arm of administration is being under threat and intimidation, which shouldn't be. The judiciary should be independent to carry out its function within any known polity. And you know the importance of that particular arm of government when they are under threat, when they cannot do anything according to what the law has actually given them the opportunity to do, then the country will be in problem. And it has happened before. And some people were not in any way punished. We felt that this time around, let's not allow this to repeat, and let those who are responsible at least be made to be held accountable. And that is actually what happened. So there is any intention by any person to pursue a personal agenda against any person whatsoever. In fact, everyone is interested in getting to the truth, including the Attorney General himself, including the IGP, and everyone. And I'm also sure that the president of the country will be interested in knowing who are those behind this invasion. So no personal agenda whatsoever.
Well, is there anything that could have given reason or given impetus for that suspicion in the first place of a personal agenda, or should I say attack on the person of the...
Maybe somebody feels that, for NBA, who is a stakeholder, a major stakeholder, coming out to say, look, enough of this. We need to put a stop to this. We should not allow repetition. And then those who are culpable should be punished. Somebody now feels maybe he is a target. I don't think that anyone is a target. What is the target now is who actually ordered this particular invasion.
One wonders in the first place why it's taking so long, first of all, to even get to the names of the individuals, because there has to be records at the High Court, at the court where the magistrate gave this so-called search warrant and all of that. So the paper trail shouldn't have taken more than maybe 2 days.
I agree with you.
Almost 2 weeks.
But there is a phase to all this. The police came up with a report that they have arrested 14. According to them, 7 still at large. Now, they gave names of those they have arrested, but we only had 2. Lawrence spoke, and then one other, I think a journalist also spoke. So there are faces now. There are names to these people who carried out this act. But the police report is that the policeman himself is fake. And then the journalist is not a fake person. There are 2 lawyers that are also involved.
My apologies, Dr.
Yes.
Ubani, but all of that is in public domain, those ones. But I'm just wondering why it took so long in the first place. Yes. Do you think it is an attempt, as you said, to sweep it under the carpet? Because many wonder, look, the magistrate is known. There is a paper trail.
That's right.
So why did it take so long to even mention a single name or even get people out?
Maybe they wanted to be very sure. I'm playing the devil's advocate now on behalf of the Nigerian police. They were trying to be sure who were involved, and running up the gang, may not be too easy. That may have accounted for that short delay. But as I said earlier, the commendation is that at least we have faces now. We have names. What we need to do for us as an MBA, as a very powerful and professional pressure group, is also to present our own report, independent report of what actually transpired, which is what we have embarked upon. And MBA is clearly interested knowing those who actually perpetrated this kind of act itself. Now police is saying that those guys were criminal gang. They had no authority whatsoever from the government. And then again, it's very scary. That it means that some group of people in this country who are criminals can gang up, go to the court, obtain search warrant, and then go and carry out such an illegal raid on any person's home. So it's scary. So, but it's an information that is vital that will really help us generally in administration of justice, especially in all these magistrates issuing all these ex parte orders. It's a whole lot of things that we need to do, a holistic thing. How come most times these security agents will go to magistrate and sometimes get them to sign blank papers that have no any specific address, have no specific name? And they can use it to do all manner of criminal activities. They can come to your home and then fill in your name and your address and then probably raid you. That is the thing. Is it right for magistrates to do all that? Can there be lawyers who actually will conduct proceedings and move an application so they can have them trail? You can have that trail. You can really identify a lawyer who does that. Because from the look of things, this particular application was not done by a legal practitioner. Based upon papers that are in our possession. There is no formal application by a lawyer, just that a policeman went to the High Court, swore an affidavit, and then brought it to the magistrate. You signed, giving them the order to go and search a home. A home itself, even in the address, was not even being specific. And a lot of inconsistencies in the content of the affidavit, both of the whistleblower and that of the policeman himself. So these are issues. Is it right in this country for account of customers or citizens to be frozen based upon ex parte order? Most times, and how are these orders obtained? Is it right even when you are arrested and then the police or any of the agents will go to the court and have your detention extended, sometimes for 30 days, 15 days, without you being heard? I mean, he only on the purported, statement of the police that, oh, you're a criminal, you are this and that. Then the court now says, okay, you should be detained for 14 days, for 15 days, without hearing your own side of. And then you are not even served with that order. So these are things that we think that the National Assembly, policymakers, and those who are involved in administration of justice, we have to look into so that we can have a situation where these things will be normalized and the processes and procedures well spelled out so that magistrate cannot, begin to sign these things that are blank and then give it in the hands of security agents who will now use it for some other purposes that are not clearly in accordance with the law.
It sounds like, there's a lot of work for the judiciary in its own self-cleansing, because if the situation you describe here is the reality, then it will sound like nobody is safe, really. But then while speaking now, you talked about the whistleblower. There are those who argue that, look, why is it that this fellow is not one of the people that has been paraded? Why is his name not mentioned? There is also the consistency. Is it Imo Road or Imo Street?
That's right.
And then, in talking about the whistleblower, there are those who think, look, maybe it's only to protect the whistleblower in order to encourage other whistleblowers to come out. But this one would sound like it's a wrong whistleblower or a whistleblowing gone wrong. In that regard, going by the provisions made for the whistleblower and this kind of case where someone says it's a fake whistleblowing and there are consequences, what's the position of the law and what should be done?
The issue of whistleblowing came in, during this administration because they felt, look, there are many information that may not be available to them, which the citizens will be in a position to, and then there will be compensation for that. But also, I think there are safety guards, against somebody giving fake information that may lead to wrong arrest. And there are consequences. I think somebody was even charged in this country for giving wrong information. Now, this man activated the entire process. But there are a lot of things that are very, very wrong with his affidavit, the content of his affidavit. According to him, he observed criminal activities going around houses in Abuja. He was not specific as to any house. That should raise a red flag, signal to any person that, comes across such an affidavit, that you are aware of criminal activities going around houses in Abuja. So you were not specific.
So there was no name,
there was no name
of a street.
if you look at it, no name, no street,
name of a street, no name of a house.
He that activated that process. That was the content of his affidavit.
So where did the name,
beautiful.
the street
so now Lawrence now came with his own affidavit, in which now he was specific as to an address. But that address, again, there are so many things wrong with that address. So the question you ask is, where is this whistleblower? So the whistleblower must also be unveiled. Who is him? How did he come across this information of those alleged criminal activities going around houses? Which of the houses were you referring to? So there are a lot of things that has gone wrong with this particular, and if not for the security details of my Lord, Mary Odili, that would have been an issue. Who knows what the intentions of these guys? And they were there for solid 2 hours. If there is no authority, if there was nobody behind these guys, the amount of boldness and some of the action they have taken, including legitimizing the act by going to court to get a court order. Everything about them, according to the police, was illegitimate, was wrong. But the fact that they went to court and obtained a search warrant with which they went to carry, giving some level of legality to the action. So it then means that any criminal can go to court, these are the issues, and get a court order to carry out some activities. If not that this was actually botched, if not that it didn't, sell through, who knows what were the intentions of these guys, And everyone should be worried. I think the president of the country should be worried. Every head of arm of government is giving protection in this country. You will see the security details of our president. We want to protect our president. The same thing with the vice. The same thing with the speaker. The same thing with the senate president. We also expect that this arm of government that has headship must also be protected. The CJN must be the second in command, and all the justices of the Supreme Court. This is the highest judges we have in this country, who in most of their pronouncement can set parameters for governance and economic development in the country. So they also require protection. So it is very scary for a justice of the Supreme Court to just wake up and see some group of men who were allegedly fake invading that home with a court order. It gives you also, let me just finish. It gives you a very, a good spin for that. You, Ayo, can be in your home and some men will knock and say they are from the government, and they have a court order to search your house. Now, how do you identify whether they are fake or whether they are genuine? I mean, whether they have a genuine court order. So these are issues we really need to unravel.
Does that also raise the issues around all of the invasions, well, for want of a better word, of security agencies on some highbrow hotels and all of that, over the past few months that we have? Are you questioning those processes as well?
That is the point. In democracy, there are some procedures that should be embarked upon, that should, even the agents, the security agents, must really observe, even in effecting arrest. We are not in any way supporting crime and criminality. We must ensure that we reduce the level of criminality in the state. But in doing that, there are processes you must also comply with. And if you fail to do that, you will be accused of violating people's rights. You don't just bust into a hotel. Most times, these are innocent people with their husband and wife and children. You just bust in and, it's a mistaken identity. So what remedy for that individual? You have actually, invaded the privacy. And there is a constitutional provision that guarantees your privacy. We've been having that issue. And I have had some conversation with EFCC officials, and they also agree that they have to really, because there are those also who want to really show their working, who in extreme cases do certain things that violate people's rights. I said, look, there'll be proper training. In doing this, be sure of your information. You don't just bust into any hotel anywhere without adequate information. And that will really expose you. That also paints you in bad light. And also, by extension, the country. Because these things are, out there in the public space. And people in Nigeria, you cannot be safe, be in a hotel. Some people will just bust in and say they're looking for Yahoo boys. And meanwhile, you're not the one that they're looking for. So these are some of the things, some of the measures we are saying that we must begin to observe as a nation. Okay. We must begin to do the right things. Whether EFCC or whether any police or DSS, let's respect people's right. You can effect arrest without doing it as if you are arresting a kidnapper.
Okay, it will sound to me, because going by the words of the NBA president, he used two exact words, said the NBA is thoroughly dissatisfied with the position of the police investigation so far carried out and the rebuttal from the office of the Attorney General of the Federation. So one then wonders, on what basis and what next?
What the NBA president is saying is that, look, it requires deeper, interrogation of what has been presented. Oh, you said, the man said, I'm a consultant to the office of the AG, and the AG said, I've never met you. So it's the man's word against the AG. Are you following me? And he said, look, he has been given up to 29 jobs, recovery. And there is a recovery panel in the Ministry of Justice. He has been given 29 jobs, but this one that he went, that concerns me, Lord, that it wasn't the AG that sent him. That is own decision. But that 29 jobs recovery has been given to him, which he has done on behalf of the Ministry of Justice. So for somebody to give that information, and you look at his IDR card, who signed it, and all that, these are issues that requires further probing. So we are not disbelieving the AG. We're not saying that the AG is lying. We're also not saying that the man himself who said that is also lying. There are other deeper things you need to unearth in order to actually know who is a liar and who is telling the truth. So MBA is not saying that, oh, with whatever has happened so far, anyone is culpable or anyone is liable. No. But we need to interrogate further, the revelation so far, especially from the police angle. Oh, this man says, this is what you have done for me previously. You've given me this job. I carried that out for you successfully. I know you. But all over this one, you didn't instruct me. So, fine. So, which means he knows him. But the man said, I don't know you. I have never met you before. I never gave you any letter of appointment. So, where are you coming from? So, these issues require further interrogation. Don't you think so, Ayo?
Well, I'm the one that is asking the question. The only place you ask questions is in the court. But the issues that you have raised are most certainly, troubling. But does that mean then that the police has concluded its investigation and consequently the NBA is not satisfied and wants the police to do more?
What the NBA president, Mr. Olumide Akwata, said the day he held a press conference, I think it's 5th of November, was that the minimum that the NBA will really be happy about is the president setting up an independent panel of inquiry. That it is wrong for probably the AGF to investigate himself because of the fact that there has been this, he has been implicated, sort of. Not that he has been found liable, but somebody mentioned his name. Then the police, they are the one also that actually went there. Police involved, of course, here soldiers were also involved. So can police really investigate themselves and come out with a clean, state of story in the light of this revelation that they were involved? So the best thing that the NBA is saying, can the president, in the light of the fact that the second in command in the judiciary's home was actually invaded by men now that turn out to be fake, that he should set up a panel for us to know who actually instructed these fake policemen, fake security agents, who is behind them? Have they been doing this job before? And if they have been doing, on whose behalf? So these are issues that would have been unraveled by an independent panel. And I think that the president may have taken note of what the NBA president has actually demanded. Not that we are dissatisfied thoroughly with whatever. Police has put a face. And we commend the Nigerian police for living up, to expectation in bringing, at least making some arrests. So we commend them in that. But I think we should go further. One, there are two reasons why NBA is clearly worried about this. One, we don't want a repetition of this. Judiciary is a very important arm in administration, generally. We don't want a situation where judges will be doing their duty under threat, under fear. And they cannot give out their best, under such circumstances. So we want a situation where they are totally free in carrying out their responsibility as assigned to them by the Constitution. That is key. Then we also make sure that we punish, people who are offenders.
Is that a way of tailing on what the NBA president said when he said the NBA is going to get to the root of this matter, no matter how highly placed the individuals are?
Yes. That would mean that NBA will want the president, maybe part of my report would be that the president must do this. And I think that the president is listening because he said, look, president, you should be worried. It can be you tomorrow.
Okay. Now, there are those who have also alleged that this case is similar to what they call the honor treatment. Is there any such, thinking?
The AG was asked that question yesterday, and he said he has the right to remain silent on it. What happened in 2016, clearly, it's a memorable incident, where just some justices, including that of the Supreme Court. Remember Justice Sylvester Anguta, Justice Onyango Okoro, and then these people at the Federal High Court, one in Port Harcourt, one in Abuja, one in Kano. Their homes were invaded. And the report that came out that time was that it was a matter of mistaken identity. Remember, they said that they were wrong, but nobody was punished, and we're worried. So the next thing was that Onogin was accused and of certain, wrong malfeasance. The process that led to his removal is something that is still worrying some of us. That is clearly a dangerous precedent. You can't remove a president of a country not in accordance with the constitution. So also with the CJN. But what happened at that time was that he was removed by an ex parte order. Who moved that ex parte order? Up to now, we have not gotten to the root of that matter. And I feel that we should even go beyond the Court of Appeal where that case stopped, up to Supreme Court. Should there be a pronouncement? Because we cannot allow dangerous precedent to be laid, for us as a nation. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. So I don't know whether people who are right, whether they're right in alluding to the similarity, whether there is any such intention. But if there is any such intention, by the fact that everyone is clearly, angry at what has happened, I think whatever their plans are, they should stop. It is not good for us as a nation because the world is a small village. And of course, analyses are coming from all over the world of what transpired, that justices in Supreme Court in Nigeria are not safe. Their homes can be invaded by fake policemen. It's not a good story for us as a nation. It is not. You must agree with me. This is clearly not something we should be proud of. And I think something should be done concerning it.
Well, the NBA has been making appeals to the president, to the office of the president. But, and we have also been listening to the National Assembly. The Speaker, the House of Representatives has spoken. The Senate has also held a position on this issue. In fact, the Senate says that whatever report is going to be released by the police, it must be made public and all of that. And I think you have alluded to some of that.
That's right.
Is that in any way consoling? That's the number one. According to the order of precedence in the Constitution, it's the legislature, the executive, and then the judiciary. Is it a comfort that the number one arm of government in the country, which is the legislature, has spoken?
Yes, I am very happy that the legislative arm has taken a position. They could also be a victim. As I said earlier, any person can be a victim. And they have also made their position known that this incident should not be swept under the carpet and that police should go, the entire hog to thoroughly investigate and then make their findings public. I totally share that view with them. And an MB will want to work with the National Assembly over this. It's going to be a holistic, reforms in terms of administration of justice. And as I said earlier, this is part of all that. SPIDEL held a webinar in which renowned lawyers and justices, spoke on this issue of ex parte order. We should be able to know how to apply it and at what point and what are the processes and procedure so that everyone knows it. It is wrong to begin to carry papers to magistrate or high courts, judges, for them to sign for you blank. And then somebody can use it for some other purposes that are clearly not legal. So we are saying, can we now work hand in hand as a country in order for us to now come out with other legislative framework that can actually determine how to use these ex parte orders. It will really enhance administration of justice and transparency in the entire process, and also give some people some level of comfort. I don't want to be a victim tomorrow. Somebody comes with an ex parte order, freezes my account, and then I can't have any remedy in law. Because where there is wrong, there is a remedy. UPG should be remedium. I don't have any right, because I have been wronged. So there must be a process. Even if you get that ex parte order because of some level of urgency, can I be served that order immediately? So I can take some steps, either to set it aside or contradict you, before the same court. So these are processes we are suggesting. It's not good to go to court and tell one-sided story. The court believes that one-sided story, and based upon that, you now take a decision against me in my absence. Is it the
courts believing that position,
yes,
or that provision of the process,
yes,
that allows ex parte order?
There are laws that allows it. Yeah. But we are saying
so
the law must be...
The court is not wrong.
No. What we're saying, yeah, you can give an ex parte order, especially on matters of urgency, when there is a sense of urgency, and when the rest will be destroyed if you now give time within which, the other party can respond. The court can preserve the rest. I agree. Ex parte order is allowed. But, you see, we are now abusing it. Especially, of course, what happened in political cases where you can use ex parte order now to sack a chairman of a political party and all that, we feel that, look, this is going to the extreme. Can we really know that the fundamental aspect of fair hearing is part of our jurisprudence, in which the other party must always be heard? Okay. I'm saying in exercising the right of, granting ex parte orders, we must put in place some level of safety guards. One, if you get this order because of extreme urgency of the matter, can you serve that order immediately on that individual? Let the individual be aware. Because it has happened several times where your client is locked up in any of the custodies of the security agents, and then you start processing for the bail, only to be told, oh, we had an order to detain that individual for 14 days. Meanwhile, that order was not served on that individual. It's only because you are now insisting on certain things being done in getting your client out, you are being told that there was an order. So I think that there must be an inbuilt mechanism that will make it immediately that order is gotten, that person should be served that order. So he can take steps, either by way of setting it aside or bringing his own story that can contradict whatever you have told the judge, that made the judge to give the order in the first place.
Just one last one before we let you go. What deterrence, in your own opinion, would be strong enough to forbid such a thing happening again as has happened with...
Crime persists or sin persists if offenders are not punished. It's only punishment. Punishment is the only deterrent factor. If somebody is punished for doing the wrong thing, it sends signal. It sends a message to those who are prospect, they want to carry out such an act in the future. They say, no, somebody has been punished. Let me tell you this, sir.
Before you tell me that, I think it's interesting. We have a number of messages to take. We'll keep you for a little more, and we'll be back after now.
Thank you.
Dr. Monday Ubani, Chairman, NBA SPIDEL, is still with us this morning. Well, you wanted to, step up on a conversation the other time. But the question that I asked was, what would be a strong enough deterrence for attacks, let me use that word, attacks on heads of the judiciary, especially justices of the Supreme Court?
As I said earlier, it's just punishment. Let's begin to punish offenders.
What kind of punishment?
Oh, well, the law is specific as to when you do certain things like that. You must have forged documents as alleged. There's forgery that is involved. There's somebody claiming to be a CSP while he's not. And then, some other people that were involved in the entire hawk. Some other, remember the young man who said they told him there was this issue of money. I said, why would Nigeria be borrowing money when there are so much dollars, stacked somewhere in a house in Abuja? So such people who do such things, if we punish them, somebody will become very careful, to carry out such acts with impunity, because they did this with impunity. They were there for 2 hours, I heard. Those guys were there for 2 solid hours. It took Wike and Co to rush to the house of Milord in order to what is going on. And if not also for the alertness of the security forces or security agents that were, guiding my lord, that would have been a problem. We don't know what their intentions were, as we rightly pointed out. Were they there to harm the woman? Were they there to probably, do some other things that will incriminate the woman? So these are issues. So I think deterrence can only come through punishment. Let's begin to, say the right thing. When things like this happen, let every person be worried, and then certain action taken in order to correct them. That is how you correct, criminality and correct the society. But if there is no anger, if people feel, lackadaisical about it, then offense will continue. But I think that we must all get worried. And that is how nations actually thrive. And the civil society must be there. They must hold government accountable. The journalists must, put it on the front burner. That we cannot allow this. This is a very important arm of government. Why would you every time be invading their homes and then you don't find anything? Remember that those justices that were accused, none of them were convicted. And let me point out this. There are procedures to get a judge who has committed a crime to be indicted and punished. We have it. We have it in our laws. But do it in such a manner that shows that we are civilized. You don't go a home of a judge and begin to, in an odd hour, invade the homes and all that. You can invite the person. You must extend some level of courtesies, because they are not ordinary criminals. They are not criminals in the first place. For you to be a judge of the Supreme Court, you know the process and procedure you pass through, from the lowest court up to the highest court in the land.
There are those who are also wondering, Dr. Ubani, that we haven't heard the NJC on this matter at all?
Oh, NJC has spoken. The Supreme Court, for the first time, sir, issued one of the most urgent.
Well, we heard that, we saw
yes.
the statement from the Supreme Court,
Yes,
but there are those who are wondering, the National Judicial Commission,
yes.
you know,
Council.
yeah.
Yes. They meet once in a quarter. Of course, they may issue their own statement later about it. But the head of that particular agency, which is the Chief Justice of
yes,
the,
but you know,
has issued a statement.
okay.
To me, hearing from the CJN and hearing from the Supreme Court, I am very happy. I read that.
The Supreme Court is an institution,
yes.
and you will speak to that.
Yes.
But there are certain responsibilities that the Judicial Commission has, the Judicial Council, that the Judicial Council has.
Yes.
You know, there are certain responsibilities, and one would have thought, look, for such a thing to have happened to such a highly placed judge,
right.
you said she's second in command to the CJN. Now, that should, even if it's an emergency statement or meeting or something, some are wondering, how come we haven't heard from the
agency? I have
this
belief that they will. They meet quarterly, as I said earlier, and there is no way they can allow such a matter that affects them to be silent about it. I'm sure they're going to make a statement concerning that. But because they meet quarterly, and they need to take a comprehensive view of their membership before they can issue a statement. But as I said earlier, the CJN, the Supreme Court, issued a statement. Said, look, we can bite. We can also bite, we can back, and also we can also bite.
How can the Supreme Court bite?
My. They are the one, you know, if there is any arm of government we should be afraid of, is judiciary. This is the only arm that can tell you now, Ayo, that you should go to jail. And you spend the rest of your life in jail.
Won't I depend on the executive for that order to be executed?
Well, the point is that they have the power to make that pronouncement. The executive does not have the right to make it.
But it's a pronouncement.
It's a pronouncement which most times have been obeyed.
Most times, you said,
yes,
Dr. Ubani.
Yes.
Most times,
yes.
Not all the time.
Not all the times.
Okay. So
and
how
that's
then
why
can they, if without, in other words, you're saying that without the cooperation or partnership of the executive, the judiciary can hardly bite.
It's an ongoing conversation. It's a part of the deficiency in our system. People are saying maybe we should also have a security outfit of the judiciary that can enforce their order. It's an ongoing conversation, you know. Should we depend? Because some of us, we obtain judgment against government agencies. You cannot execute it. You have to write to the AG, who now may not even respond to you later. And God knows how many years it will take you to actually get judgment executed. So there are issues, but people are debating it. It's a holistic, look at administration of justice generally. Do we allow ourselves to depend on the executive? And what if that order is against the executive? Can it be enforced? So it's an ongoing conversation. But I tell you this, if there is an arm of government you should fear, it's the judiciary, because they possess a power of life and death. They can pronounce you alive. They can also pronounce you a dead person, and that will be it. So we should respect them. We should fear them. We should give them an atmosphere within which to operate. Atmosphere of freedom. Atmosphere of independence. But
yes. It would seem then that the power to do things with the judiciary is, just as you said, a pronouncement.
Yes.
So how, beyond the laws, how else do you suggest that the justices of the Supreme Court in particular be protected from such a thing as this?
Well, I am very happy that the day they went to Mrs. Honorable Justice Odili's house, there was security. There were security agents there. They should be protected with security details, just like all other arms of government are protected. They must have that. If not, they could have taken her, as a grasshopper, but she had that protection. So we must protect them. We must ensure their safety. Both administratively also, we must ensure their independence. Remember that there was 3 or 4 months strike, recently, where the courts were shut because of issue of financial autonomy. Some governors have complied. Some are still hell-bent in not complying with the provisions of the Constitution. We must, raise the issue and let it remain on front burner that we must allow them to be independent, autonomous, financial, administrative, structurally, and provide them with all the basic infrastructures. Their welfare should be uppermost in our mind. When a judge is taken care of, he will not be interested in taking bribe. Are you following me? So we must look at it holistically. The recruitment process we have also talked about, we must be sure whom we're employing to be a judge, because it is an onerous responsibility.
So how long is this special investigation of the NBA going to take?
Within 3, 4, weeks, we should be able to get, some level of stride would have been made in terms of getting information. Are you following me? And we, with the NBA has appointed me and given me the opportunity to co-opt some of these big lawyers in the country to work with in order to unearth actually what transpired and then report back to the constituency, and then they will now use that information to do whatever they want to do. But it's something that is ongoing, and we're at it. We have gotten some basic information that will actually aid us in this responsibility.
So 3-4 weeks, we're going to get some.
Yes, we'll be able to have a report, not to you now, but to the constituency.
At least, just as you said, everyone is interested in how this will turn out.
That's correct.
For now, we have to thank you very much for being a part of our program this morning. Dr. Monday Ubani is Chairman, NBA SPIDEL. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ayo, for having me. Good morning.